Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Dakota Daydreams. I'm Dakota, and today we'll be returning to The Bedside Garden, episode 18. And today I'm going to start by putting some water in the soil because I've been forgetting to do that. And today I actually remembered because I could smell something drying out, and I was trying to figure out what it was. I'm pretty sure it was my roots. Like, I think I can smell the roots starting to dry out. And I know these are supposed to be bottom water pots, but it keeps making a mess when I try to do that. So instead, I usually just treat them like a regular pot that has a built-in drip catcher. So I just water from the top normally and the water stays under it. And this little tiny lettuce up here is starting to actually look like a vegetable. The leaves actually look like baby greens, finally. Nothing else up here is really super impressive yet, but I do think the other lettuce and both of those Cherokee purple tomatoes are still doing okay, though. This marigold has gotten gigantic, and at some point, I'm gonna have to prune this, but I'm just not ready to yet. So for now, I think I'm just gonna settle with pulling the oldest flower off of it because it doesn't open all the way anymore. I'm pretty sure it had opened a little bit too early to have caught pollen off of any of the other flowers, and it's just kind of started turning brownish orange on the edges. So I'm just gonna pluck it off and return it to the soil so it can break down and go into being even more flowers. And while the garden's growing, it's time for Catalog of the Week. This week it's Harris Seeds Home Garden Catalog, and they have been in the seed business since 1879. So I'm kind of excited about this one. They should have a pretty decent variety going for that long. We open up to a table of contents, um, legend key for their icons, and a welcome to your catalog letter that just that's a little zippy and fun. Welcome to your catalog. All right, thank you. It details their new things for the season and a little bit about who they are and what they stand for. They promise us the highest caliber. Let's see. Well, the first thing I noticed was they have several varieties of very colorful beans. In addition to your regular green and bright green beans, they have Gold Rush, which are very bright yellow, and two varieties of purple. The Celine, I don't know why that picture took so blurry, and I really hope it does that thing where it looks blurry while I'm editing, but then uploads and is fine. And an improved Purple Queen. And then among their many varieties of beets, I was the most fascinated by the avalanche because I don't know if I've seen a beet before that was totally white inside and outside. And then I saw blue cabbage. I've seen purple cabbage before, I've seen green cabbage, and I think I've even seen a white cabbage once. But I've never seen one that was blue, and they have two right on top of each other that look very, very blue. If they don't grow blue, they catch the light in pictures blue for sure. And among their many corn varieties, they have one called gourmet mushroom. Now, generally, I'm the type of person that has to hide mushrooms in my own food if I'm gonna eat a mushroom. Like, I have to cut them up and cook them down really, really well, because I don't generally like the texture, but the taste can be okay. However, I do feel like a variety of corn called gourmet mushroom will probably be my favorite mushroom. And then there's a full 2-page spread on microgreens and sprouts. All the different kinds you can grow for microgreens and sprouts, all the different ways there are to grow them. And it's really cool how many different options there are, because there's trays, there's cups, there's all sorts of things. And I've even seen some people growing microgreens in Tupperware with paper towels. The Harris Garden Seed catalog even has some really interesting eggplants in it. Because in addition to the snowy white ones and the little purple ones, there's also this patio baby that is a potted plant-sized eggplant plant. And that sounds cool. I don't think I've even eaten an eggplant before, but I'd try it if I grew it, you know? Harris Seed also offers a couple of bundle packs to help get you started if you're not quite sure what you want to start with. For example, the Family Meal Herb Kit or the Grow Gardens Herb Kit, both of which have some really great culinary herbs in them. And it's kind of a little assortment for if you're not really sure which thing to start with, which is definitely a problem I've had. And it is so hard to choose at first, you know, because there's all the different options, half of which you don't even hear of at a grocery store. So, yeah. But something I've been struggling not to rush to show y'all is in their pumpkin section. They have a pumpkin called a warty goblin. It is an orange pumpkin with green and brown warts, and they call it a warty goblin. As if the name isn't fun enough, the pumpkin looks even more fun. Could you imagine a jack-o'-lantern covered in warts? We're not going to have to imagine it for too much longer. Soon I'll be able to grow them. They also offer many different autumn squash blends, my favorite of which is Galaxy of Stars in the top right corner. But so many different kinds of squash available for so many different purposes. There's an edible blend, there's a crafting squash blend, there's several decor blends that might have edible squash in them. It's amazing. They even have recipes in the middle. This one's for a canned marinara sauce, and it's beside the index and order forms, which are actually on a different type of paper than the rest of the catalog. So if you wanted to go straight to it, you could just flip through for the different paper texture. And then inside of the little order form booklet, inside the middle of the catalog, there's a very detailed form explaining all of the different shipping and handling procedures, how to contact them, and all of the order relevant information you may need. With the order form itself located on the back of that little booklet, beside another canning recipe for blue ribbon veggies, which looks to be a way to pickle many different vegetables in the same type of pickling juice. But once I got back to their flower section, I was surprised yet again because they have begonias, pink, red, and white begonias. And I have not seen begonias in a very long time. If they've been in a catalog I've already done, I totally missed them. My bad. But they're a very, very pretty but simple flower. It's just the petals with that little dot in the middle. And my goodness, do they dust pollen if they're the same flower I think I'm remembering right now? But they're gorgeous, and that pollen is food for a lot of insects. And then very close to the end of their flower section was this gorgeous sun-filled purple sunflower. I don't think I've ever seen a sunflower quite that wispy, but it's very pretty. And finally, they have decorative foliage all the way past the flowers. Now, I just noticed in editing that there's eucalyptus listed right down there in the bottom corner. But what I took this picture for was the decorative kales because I got excited to see them in the catalog because I actually see them in some parts of my town where there's shopping areas. Some of the people are growing them in the pots along sidewalks. And I think that's really cool because, yeah, it's a decorative kale, but it's a step closer. And I don't know if you can eat decorative kale, but maybe. I'm sure something can, animal or person. Um, but yo, they have eucalyptus. I just totally distracted myself on this slide. You're welcome. And then in the very back, they have supplies and gift choices for the gardeners you know. And I personally think my favorite of their supplies was this hori knife, which is pretty much for trying to get vegetables off of plants when they have very thick and strong vines. Probably would have helped with pumpkins when I was younger. Whew. The one pumpkin I ever did grow, I had to drag the whole plant with me because it would not come off the vine. If you'd like to grab your own copy of the Harris Seeds Home Garden Catalog, the link will be down below in my description. Now let's get back to the garden, see what's going on in there. Welcome back to the garden. So far, everything's still growing well. The Swiss chard's standing up really good now, and this lettuce looks like a whole little plant now. I'm getting really excited for it, and it's honestly difficult not to take a bite already, because it's so tiny, it pretty much is a bite. I still haven't gotten around to pruning or making tea out of these flowers. So that'll probably be towards the beginning of next week, trying to get around to this marigold. I also still need to trim these onions, but I keep forgetting to before I cook, and I don't want to just clip them. They're definitely onion scented enough to be used in cooking, I feel like. But on the bright side, this mango melon has two little flower buds coming in. But y'all, I just checked the mail and I got a pack of seeds from Miss Darla DJ, who I'll tell y'all more about on Wednesday. And she sent me some English thyme, Italian parsley, which I cook with so much. I I really hope I can get some of this up soon. Mammoth Long Island dill. Now, dill is probably one of my top favorite seasonings, but I forget about it so often because it's so expensive at the grocery store or constantly sold out. But y'all, when I have dill, I put it on or in just about everything. I think it's amazing on salmon. A packet of contender garden beans, early scarlet globe radishes, which I'm very excited to try in one of the soil pots. Black-seeded Simpson lettuce, Bloomsdale long-standing spinach, English lavender, a packet of rainbow mix coleus, some peppermint seeds, which are so super tiny, some cilantro seeds, which I've not been able to find anywhere for the longest of times. Anise seeds, same situation. Lemon balm seeds, which I'm very excited about and need to do some more research on because I realize I've heard of bee balm, but I don't know if I've actually researched lemon balm before. Super exciting. Chamomile, which has much smaller seeds than I actually thought it did. I also call it chamomile when I try to read it, but when I'm just talking about it, I say chamomile. Interesting. Italian basil, a packet of marjoram seeds, which I'm probably about to start now, and tiny Tim tomatoes. I was going to start the bedside garden with a packet of Tiny Tim tomatoes and about 3, 4 packets of lettuce. But that pack sold out when I ordered my garden on Amazon, and I had to switch over to get some flowers so I'd have something to plant when it came in, figure out the rest later. And y'all, she sent me a packet of Tiny Tims. So I've picked 5 seeds from the pack and 1 from my stash that I'm going to start today. And I'm going to start with the straight 8 cucumbers because they look great for pickling. Alright, I got a seed cup. Now let me try to get into this packet. And after fiddling with it for several minutes, I finally got 2 seeds out. So I'm going to get those into the cup. And just take a moment to hope that they grow quickly and healthily. And then just spritz some water on them so they can germinate. But I probably should not do that close to my packets of seeds again. Got too involved in what I was doing and forgot to keep assessment of my surroundings for a second. It happens when you're excited. Next, I want to start a packet of these coleus seeds because, I mean, they're beautiful looking. There's so many different colors going on. And then also the back of the packet says something about a light blue flower on them. Sounds awesome. And this packet doesn't have the little flip tab some of the seed packets do. And it's lined in like a mylar foil, so they should be fresh in there. One of the seeds tried to get caught in the lining and fall, but I caught it. Did I lose it? No, I found it. I got it. It's tiny. Let me get that in that seed cup before I drop it again. I don't know if I'd even find it if it got lost in here. But for as quickly and easily as that one tried to run away, I had to give each and every seed a tap, tap, tap and a shimmy, shimmy, shimmy to get out of the bag and into the seed cup. And whenever I'm resealing packets of very small seeds like this, I make sure to shake it a few times just to make sure all of the teeny tiny seeds are down at the bottom before I put it away. And now that I have somewhere between 2 and 6, I'm going to move them away from the other seeds to water them. And then add them to the finished seed stack once their lid is on. And now we're going to start some marjoram, which I am majorly excited for because I've heard a lot about this herb, but I've never actually seen a live plant before. Now, these seeds are super tiny. They honestly look kind of like static inside the bag from how little they are, so I'm just going to give them the lightest tap. Alright, tappity tap tap, and then try and get any seeds that are close to the zipper line knocked back down into the bag before I reseal it, because that should be good. And now I have one that's gotten caught above the zipper line, so I'm just going to try to wiggle that free and add it to the cup with the rest. Because, yeah. Now, that may not look like a lot, but it actually really, really is. Like, that's at least 20 seeds. So I'm going to pour some of them back into the bag, because I only really need maybe up to 6 going at any given time. because just in case they all work, I'd like to have somewhere to put them. Once again, there's one that wants to stay out right on the edge of the zipper. So I'm just going to keep that one and reseal the pack, and then move this cup away to spray the water in it. And next up, we're planting parsley. And this brand is cool because they actually double layered the packet. So inside of the regular, like, wax paper seed pack, there's a Mylar foil type packet around the seeds themselves. So they have an extra layer of freshness and protection. And now I'm going to try to get inside of it because it is not an easy open pack. But that is 100% worth it because once it does open, you can see and smell that those seeds are fresh. And now just give it a few tippity tap taps because I only want a few seeds out at a time, not too many. And then I'm going to fold both of those layers back down around the parsley to keep it as fresh as possible for as long as possible. Because I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through the whole packet. I'm growing out of a hydroponic system. Plus, if one plant starts and goes healthy, could be a while before I start more. I think I have about 4 to 6, which is more than plenty. I just need one of those to decide to grow very well for me. And then I'm going to start some dill, because you can't make dill pickles without dill. Oh, that doesn't even look that bad in frame, but I assure you, outside of the frame, there are quite a few things fallen where I would like them to not be. So I'm gonna go off camera for just a minute, try to straighten that up, and then I'll let y'all know what just happened. So if you get used to doing an activity or a task in one specific workspace, and then you try to do that same thing in a different workspace, just go ahead and expect for it to go entirely differently and be prepared. Because what happened was, I'm not used to working in this area with all of these things right here. And I'm not sure if it was when everything toppled because I had bumped the underside of the table while I was moving, or if this happened while I was spritzing one of the seed cups. But the bottom of these cucumbers has gotten just the tiniest bit damp. So I'm going to try to save the rest of the seeds. So all of the seeds that were still dry, I just moved into a Ziploc baggie. And these ones should either be fine or I'll be able to see them. Except that one. I don't know what's wrong with that one, but whatever's going on there looks too far progressed to be from what just happened. And then the seeds stuck in the bottom that had already gotten moisture on them and were stuck to the moisture, I'm just going to add to the seed cup. I'd already started for cucumbers today because they're probably going to try to grow if they've gotten that much moisture to them. And I was already trying to grow cucumbers, so it works out. And gardening is like this sometimes. We end up growing things, sometimes more than we planned, sometimes less. Maybe it just means I'm destined for a good pickle harvest, and that's why more cucumbers had to jump in on the game. Who knows? Now, back to starting this dill, because got more pickles joining in. I'm gonna need some dill for them. And I'm just gonna shimmy out a few of the dill seeds because I'm entirely new to growing this herb. So I just want a couple of them, so I have a good number of tries in the bag. I'm not quite sure what's different about the make of this particular seed packet than the other ones, but this one feels a lot easier to roll closed and a lot more willing to stay closed after I roll it closed. And have y'all seen dill seeds before? Look at these things. They're like brown with orange edges. They're beautiful. Dun 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 dun. Finally, we're going to be starting some Tiny Tims today as well. And I know they're seeds for a very tiny breed of tomato, but I honestly did not expect the seeds themselves to be that much smaller than some of the other tomato seeds I've seen. Because they're like a quarter of the size of the Cherokee purple tomato seeds, and like maybe half the size of a Roma tomato seed. And I just think that's a little bit wild. I only pulled 2 out for now because I want to make sure I have space if they grow. Try to anyway. And now we've started 6 new varieties, most of which I've never grown before at all. And we're still trying and growing brand new things. We're exploring new herbs and vegetables, rediscovering old favorites that we've gotten out of touch with, and it's so much fun. But there's still one more thing to do in the garden this week. The watermelon has sprouted from the seed, and it's time to prepare a throne worthy of a king. So I've already taken this sponge and just rinsed it with the hydrogen peroxide till it was about as soft as a wet kitchen sponge. And that's just to make sure it doesn't have any spores or ickiness or even eggs hidden in it from microscopic things. And then I'm just going to take this toothpick like a sewing needle through it. And I'm going to make sure I punch a hole up from the bottom so the root has a straight path all the way down. And then I'm just going to take it around the inside where the indentation is and just make sure that's widened and dug out a little bit for a more robust root system than something like a lettuce that can grow straight through these sponges fine. Because usually the larger roots seem to start and then stop because they can't quite force their way through. And now that the throne is ready, I'm just going to scoop up the melon sprout and try to get it to set on top of it because the root is still quite a bit shorter than I would like for this. But both of the leaves are already out and they can't be sitting there in water. So I'm just going to have to perch it and hope for now. But that means that it is time for the Flowers Everlasting Spotlight for Flowers Everlasting 2025, where I challenge everyone to find a temporary flower near you and share it with us. Tell us about it. Tell us its story. Why is that the best flower today? And also, I'll share flowers that I've seen around the YouTube gardens in that week. This week, I haven't seen any, but I might have just missed them. If you think I missed your flower, drop the hashtag under it and I'll come check it out. Thank you for dreaming with me. I really, really appreciate all of you coming to see what I have growing on. And I really hope that you'll drop down into the comments so I can say hey. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to press the thumbs up. And until next time, take care of yourself and keep your head in the clouds.